Welcome back. It's the next day, and well, the epoxy is cured. As you can see, it is now quite stiff because we have two boards. So if I put down the camera like this, now it is really stiff already, but not stiff enough, because we still have to add fiberglass, which is going to make it even stiffer and stronger. But first I have to trim the edges, and to trim the edges I'm going to use a router. I'm out of breath. I'm still a bit sick, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to use a router to clean up the edges. So as you can see here, I made probably a little sawing mistake, but that's okay. We'll fix that. There's going to be fiberglass on that anyway, but I'm just going to use a trim bit with a router to clean that all up, and then it'll be nice. So let's see if we can find the router in the mess of things. But first I'm going to clean up a little bit, get all the glue clamps out of the way, stuff like that, so I have some space to move. And we're going to make a laminating table today. We still have some pieces of wood, so I guess I'm just going to make a table with a bit of plastic foil on it, so I can put the epoxy in the fiberglass before I'm going to put it on, because it is quite cold, and that means the epoxy gets thicker. And I'm using 435 grams of biaxial, trying to push thick epoxy through thick laminate when it's cold is going to be really difficult. But when I pour it on and use a squeegee to put it in and then put it on the wood, which I also going to put some epoxy on, then it's going to be great. On the edges I might use some thickened epoxy, but we're going to go all over that, and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, so I found the router. It's a nice Makita, and I've put a flush trim bit on there. Hope you can see it. Now what that does is it follows the contour of an object below and then cuts away anything of the object above. So if you have a little edge on a piece of wood, yeah, you can just take this flush trim bit and take it out, and it works really well. I'll just do it and you'll see what I mean. So here you see there's a little lip, and I'll just use the trimmer to take that off. Seems that this trimmer doesn't go that far. It's a bit of a shame. Let's try it again. So, as you can see, now we have a flush edge. Bada bing, bada boom. And so on and so on. I'm gonna do the whole thing. Check back with you later. Okay, welcome to the shed of things. Yesterday was a bit of a faffle. I lost my flush trim bit. It's somewhere in here, but it's impossible to find. So I ordered another one. And this is a better one because it's a little bit longer, and the other one was actually a little bit too short. So first step is to flush trim the bowsprit, so all the edges are the same. Then we're going to do some more sanding, and then I think it's going to be time for our first layer of glass. Okie dokie, so all the edges are now flush. Yesterday I also added a curve to the nose. But what we also need to do is make round edges. And I'll explain why. If you can see what I'm doing here. There. So if we have this piece of fiberglass, and what we want to do is, we not only want to fill the top, but we also want to fill the sides. And as you can see, now I have this nice curve here. Yeah, if I let go, it'll sit. But here we have a sharp angle. And then when I want to try to put it on there, see, it wants to bounce off. It's just too sharp of an angle. So we're gonna use the router again, this time with a round over bit. And then we're gonna do all the edges like I did here, but I stopped there yesterday because I still had to trim it, and I didn't have a trim bit. So there we go. Yeah, we're gonna go all around. I'm still debating on the inside how we're gonna do that, because I was thinking leaving this straight and then put fiberglass tape on it like that, and then just finish it like that. That was my idea. We can always change it, that's no problem. But yeah, let's get to routing. Here we go. So the wood has been fully sanded and routed and everything, but now it's time to cut fiberglass. So I already cut a piece. I put some foil down. We're gonna do some wetting out here in a bit. Oh, sorry, we're gonna do some wetting out here in a bit. But first I'm gonna cut 2 pieces. I think I'm gonna start with 2 pieces today, so 2 layers, and then we're gonna flip it when it's cured. 2 layers, and then see if we like it like that, or that we maybe add another layer. And but I think today we're gonna start with 2 layers, finish off with peel ply, and hope it cures. Okay, so I've cut out the fiberglass, which is what do I put it here? I cut out the fiberglass, I degreased the wood. Yeah, I'm gonna mix some epoxy. I think I'm gonna need to mix quite a bit, because I might need some thickened epoxy. I need a epoxy to wet out the fiberglass, and I need epoxy to put on the bowsprit itself, to put a layer down before I put down the fiberglass, so it doesn't go on dry. But first I'm gonna drink something. Okay, so the peel ply is on, and all we can do now is have a beer and wait, and yeah, that was it. Morning. So it seems that the fiberglass has almost cured. I think I'm gonna leave the peel ply on, because if I take it off I'm gonna introduce dust, I'm gonna introduce grease. And as you can see here, so this edge, unfortunately it lifted a bit. So what I'm gonna do is sand it off till here, because on top we seem to have a pretty good bond. I'm gonna sand it off and then put fiberglass tape like around this edge like this. I think that's gonna fix it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I have a little test piece here which is fully translucent, and I did the whole bit like that, but it doesn't feel fully cured yet, which would make sense. It can take a while with these temperatures. Yeah, it feels still a little jelly. Yeah. So this is my remainder from last night. Pretty good, huh? That's how I measured for just I measured it from feeling, so I got pretty close with putting epoxy on the wood, and then putting epoxy into in this case 3 sheets, and then topping it off. So yeah, not too bad, but I am gonna let it cure through. If I'm gonna start, then I need to take off the peel ply, and I'd rather leave it on right now because it's protecting the laminate from grease and dust and stuff like that. So I'd rather leave it on as long as possible and leave it to cure even more. I did test the stiffness just now a little bit, and it's becoming a very stiff bowsprit. I am considering putting fiberglass tape here and then going all the way around here, because what happens is I'm gonna bolt through here. So here's gonna be a lot of stress, right? And then here I'm thinking of putting another piece of fiberglass tape, because here's gonna sit the bow roller, so that's gonna have a big leverage. So I think I'm gonna thicken it here, I'm gonna thicken it here, and then go around with one piece of tape. So go from the top to the bottom, and the bottom to the top, and the top to the bottom, maybe like 3 times, to put some extra fiberglass at the points it's stressed the most, and that's going to be at the bolts. And here's going to be the bobstay and the bow roller. So that's going to be the stress parts. The bits in the middle, they just connect. So yeah, that's the plan. But for now, today is also my birthday. I'm going to see Kim. We're going to have some nice lunch. Yesterday I heard I passed for the Enkhuizen Zeevaartschool. So that's really awesome news. So that means I get to pick up my diploma the 19th of April in the church in Enkhuizen. And that means I can go look for a ship for this winter to put in my sailing days, because I'm not there yet. I'm not certified yet. I have my diploma, but now, like a pilot, I also need to do some flying hours. And I need to work with the radar and an ECDIS, and I need to do evacuations and all stuff like this. All stuff that a first mate or a captain should be able to do by itself. So stay tuned, but at least I passed everything. I'm gonna get also my basic safety and my medical first aid certificate, and of course my certificate of knowledge from Enkhuizen Zeevaartschool. I'm really happy. This is a good weekend. So I'm gonna go celebrate my birthday with Kim. I haven't seen Kim in a while again, so I'm gonna go over to Kim. Yeah. So we've done a lot in the meanwhile. Didn't film everything because it was just sanding, fiberglassing, sanding, fiberglassing, sanding, fiberglassing. And this is what we ended up with. This is the bowsprit. I still have to trim all these edges, because the fiberglass, what you see here, went over like this. And then on the bottom the same, but that gave a bit of a ragged edge. So I put some fiberglass tape on it, but I still have to trim these edges. Same here.
for today, and that's going to be the last thing we're going to fiberglass. So this is where the bow roller sits, and you can imagine that gives a lot of stress, because when the anchor is pulling here, or maybe we can put a gennaker there, and that gives a lot of stress. So the idea is to put some more fiberglass there. I already cut some pieces. I'm going to put 435 grams of biaxial here, 3 layers, and that is going to give us, yeah, I think more than enough strength. It's going to take a bit of epoxy. I'm going to put a bit of peel ply on it, and then we should be done with the fiberglassing part. Then we just have to trim it, sand it, put fairing compound on it, fair it, make it smooth, drill holes, paint it, and then we're done. So these coming days I'm going to go to France, so I'm not going to be able to work on the bowsprit, but I have plenty to do in France, so stay around for that one. Okay, I'm going to mix some epoxy, and then we're going to get started with the last lamination job for the bowsprit. It's been a lot of laminating, because there's a lot of angles and things, but it's looking pretty good. It's feeling very strong, so I'm really happy about that. But now we're going to do the last job, and then we're going to mix some epoxy and be done with it. Well, that's it. That's 3 layers on there with a bit of peel ply. Yeah, that's about it. We have one more job for tonight, and that's putting the final bit of varnish on all of the cupboards on the boat. And because this shed is incredibly dusty, so look, that flag is just full of dust, so it will just dispense dust all the time. Which makes varnishing practically impossible. So inside the house I vacuumed a room, and I'm gonna put some plastic down, and then we're just gonna do the final coat in there. I sanded off all the little dust particles, so hopefully we'll have nice cupboards. Okay, so the plan is I'm gonna paint in here because there is a lot less dust. Because the shed has so much dust in it from years and years of doing little projects that it's just in everything on everywhere. So if you really want to clean it, you have to take everything out, clean all the separate items, and then put it back, which is is a project in itself. So I'm in here. This is my old bedroom when I was a baby. If you can see here, this is what I used to stare at as a baby. There's some cool RC sailboats here. Nowadays my little brother sleeps in here. Well, he's not so little anymore, he's almost 21, as you can see. And yeah, he's off to college now, so he's not going to use his bedroom anytime soon. So I put all this plastic down, as you can see. Here, plastic everywhere. I'm set up a little station here to mix the varnish, to degrease, and then I'm gonna put all the panels down on the floor, and I hope I have enough space. I cleaned in here before I got here, put the plastic down, so hopefully we're not gonna have as much dust as before. So let's get at it. Okay, so I varnished all the panels, or varnished. I degreased all the panels. So they're looking pretty good. I did manage to sand off most of the dust. It's quite a few of them, as you can see. I hope it's gonna fit in here. If not, I will find another room to put them. Yeah, I'm gonna put a tiny bit of thinner in the varnish just to make it more spreadable. And yeah, that's it basically. Yeah, let's get varnishing. Okay, slight hiccup. Yeah, the varnish did that in the jar. It's not even liquid anymore. It's just, what the hell happened? Guess I'll have to buy a new jar of varnish. Let me see if I can stir it just to see what's. Yeah, it's just a. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I can just poke it. I guess there is liquid varnish underneath, but I just tried out. Okay, well, I guess tomorrow morning I'm gonna buy a jar of varnish and then do it tomorrow morning. That's all I can do, yeah. Okay, well, I've never seen this. Let's see if I can hold it under the light properly, and then can you see it like that? And you see, it just hardened in the jar. Okay, yeah, it's been sitting there for I would say 4 weeks. Yeah, I did my last varnish 3 to 4 weeks ago, so that went fast. I guess I didn't close the lid properly. Okay. Yeah, if you know what happened, leave a comment, because I've never seen this before. I guess air came into it, but I'm not sure. Okay, see you tomorrow. Well, I went to the hardware store to buy some vacuum bags for a wet dry vacuum for a Kercher, which they don't have anymore. So, but what they did have, varnish. So we can keep on varnishing, and yeah, we're gonna put the layer down tonight. Okay, that's it. They're all painted or varnished. Still have a dust issue. I still see speckles of dust if I look from here. I don't know anymore. It's it'll just have to do. Also, there is something in this wood or the layer beneath that resembles grease, but I have scraped, sanded, degreased. I think, well, I degreased it at least 20 times now. So I don't know what's underneath it, but it's deep in there and I can't get it out, but it looks a lot better than it did. So I'm happy about that. Look, it's nice and shiny. But yeah, you still want to make it perfect, you know. Yeah, I've tried different ways of degreasing as well. So isopropyl alcohol, I degreased with the thinner for this, I degreased with acetone. Nothing, and usually that's all of the above are fine. So I don't know what's causing the issue, but well, I'm just gonna let it really harden for like 6 months, then do a light scuff when we're out at sea, and then I'll put a thin layer over it, and then it really should be fine, you know. So for now, I'm just gonna let this dry. Hopefully it's dry tomorrow so I can bring it to France, and if not, we'll take it some other time. It'll be fine.